What's up guys? So today I'm doing a video on smart contracts for my stake pool, which is the crypto thing that I do as one of my other businesses. I've been hounded by people on YouTube. I did a video I think in October, and especially recently I get a comment almost every day, when are you doing another, we need to do another one, do a follow-up. So I caved and I agreed to do one, so that's basically what I'm going to do today. But I thought this was the perfect time to talk about how I got into crypto. Let's do this. I remember when Bitcoin first came out and I was in college, and I'm sitting on this cushion a bit funny, get rid of that. And I remember seeing that only a handful of people were using it, like in this news article or whatever, and that there was a small finite supply of 21 million or something like that. And I couldn't understand how something with such a small amount could ever be used on a global scale, because it was 5 or 6 cents or something at the time. So it didn't make sense to me. I didn't understand it. Fast forward 4 or 5 years, it's 2012, 2013, and I'm sitting around my mates and we're talking about sharing, both of us going halves on a Bitcoin for £200 or $200 maybe. We used to watch loads of the old Joe Rogan podcasts and just sit in his room and talk about stuff. And at the time, Max Kaiser was going crazy about Bitcoin. And I remember watching some of his talks because he was getting interviewed all over the place, and he had his show on RT, didn't he? He did. And yeah, so he basically single-handedly, with all the hype he could muster, over the course of 2 weeks, got Bitcoin up to $1,000. And so we thought we'd missed the boat. So us two, in our first jobs out of uni, basically, little to no money between us, thought we'd completely missed the boat. And that was the last time I really thought about Bitcoin for probably another 5 years, until 2017. Now, in 2017, there was a crazy bull run, and at the time, I was working in construction. I was working a construction job. I was coaching in PTing on a couple of days a week and doing some classes. And then me and my housemate at the time were working at this job around these South African guys who had invested in Bitcoin. And it was Christmas Eve in the snow. We were out in the garden doing stuff for an extension for him for his house. And he goes up to us. He's cooking biltong and a bunch of South African barbecue stuff in the snow. And he's going, Bitcoin's, what was it, 16 grand or 20 grand or something. And I was oh my God, how did that happen? This is probably the first time that I'd thought about Bitcoin since 2013. And he had some, and he's I think I'm going to sell it now because, because it's worth a lot of money and I've got a bunch. So I'm pretty sure he got rid of it then. Or he might have done a half and half type split. But that's when I realised that I'd really missed an opportunity there. So again, I just figured I'd missed my opportunity and didn't really think much of it. Once I thought it hit such a high number, I thought, I'm never going to be able to get one of them. Not realising, because I never really looked into it properly, that you can buy parts or satoshis, which are increments basically, or decimal values of Bitcoin. So yeah, I kind of put that to bed, thought, well done mate, you just made yourself a nice little bit of dough, and kind of cracked on with my day. Really, I just told him about how I almost bought a Bitcoin in 2013 for 200 quid with my mate. Yeah. So I didn't really think about Bitcoin much until maybe last year, and it was really when the markets crashed out that I kind of was having a chat with my mate who I first was going to split a Bitcoin with. And he'd already got into the market, and he was like, the more that I learn about it, the more I realize that this is a future of money. And the more we spoke about it, the more it made sense to me, and the more I kind of just thought about it and thought how things were and how things were moving, and like looked at the technology, the more I realized that this is actually going to be something massive. And so I basically got into the market just in time last year when everything was reasonably cheap. And I got really lucky with that, and it's probably the best decision I made in 2020. So since then, I have basically learned as much as I possibly could about crypto, about the different projects in the space and what everyone's trying to do. And I kind of came across this one called Cardano, which at the time was just about to launch its mainnet. It is like a proof of stake algorithm, which is different to how Bitcoin works, which is proof of work. I'm not going to go into crazy detail on that, but that's basically super simple. Cardano is proof of stake. And I signed up. I remember watching some videos about him and kind of learning about it and listening to some podcasts. And then I signed up to their they had like a conference thing, like a virtual conference. So I signed up, and I remember at the time I was just like, the things were coming on mostly in the afternoon and the evening. So I was seeing clients in the morning, and then I'd like play on the Xbox and listen to these talks, and I'd be signing in and out of different virtual rooms and listening to different talks. And the more I learned about it, the more I kind of believed in it, and the more I understood about how this particular project worked. And I decided that I wanted to participate. Now, I already had a little bit of Cardano, not a lot, but I decided that once the mainnet launched, which was happening at the end of the conference, I wanted to basically set up a stake pool and participate in the network as much as I can. I wanted to be a part of this project. And so I basically started learning everything I could about building a stake pool, how to run it, the operating system, cloud servers, like how to set up things on Linux, and I literally had to learn everything from scratch. And so it took me until the end of September. So this was like end of July. It took me until the end of September to feel comfortable that I had enough skill and enough understanding to be able to put one of these things together. And then I had my hernia operation. So recovering from hernia was really the perfect opportunity to dive deep in on the stake pool, and I started making some videos, and I started building out the website for the stake pool and kind of networking with other SPOs in the Cardano community. And I remember making our first block just before Christmas, and it's basically all been uphill from there. So now I maintain that YouTube channel, and I made in October, I made this video on smart contracts, this smart contract platform called the Marlow Playground. And since then, I basically have people messaging me all the time to make more videos on smart contracts. And so that's what the plan is today. So now I basically have to set everything up to do this new smart contract, and I need to do something different to what I did the first time. So I need to just think about that quickly. But first, I've got a load of comments to respond to from the pool. So catch you in a bit.